Welcome to the party. I'm Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota. In moments, Ron Johnson will join us from Mexico. This is going to be electric.
Hey, this is Arif Hassan with the Wide Left Substack. We've already taken prop bets on how shirtless and the nature of the shirtlessness of Ron Johnson is.
I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings. What a week for the 2021 Vikings coaching staff.
Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman, and Ron hyped up J.J. McCarthy so much, now the Vikings have to trade up to get him. That's why we sent him to Mexico, all right?
Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. It's time for the Minnesota Football Party.
What's up, everybody, and welcome in Thursday edition of the Minnesota Football Party here on Locked On Sports Minnesota. Also, listening to us on the Locked On Vikings audio feed, we appreciate that. Find us, SiriusXM app, Amazon Fire, Roku, or perhaps the 24/7 YouTube live stream here at Locked On Sports Minnesota. Smash that subscribe button to get notified. We'd appreciate that. You met Luke's, you met Arif. I'm Sam Ekstrom. On today's show, Justin Jefferson leaving some ominous messages through Tom Pelissero about his intentions or what his demands are around the Vikings quarterback search. DJ Wanham's future. Yes, we continue our free agent series. Will he be back? And we look at possible bridge options.
Okay.
Luke Braun's cracking up. And Ron Johnson's not even here yet.
Reef's already annoyed. I love it.
We are brought to you today by Game Time. Before you guys start brawling, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. I feel like I missed something, so I need to actually go to Luke Braun here. So Mike Zimmer hired as Cowboys defensive coordinator, as you alluded to in your tease.
Yep.
Was there another item about 2021 coaches? Okay, what else?
New Orleans Saints are going in on that 2021 offense. They loved what they saw.
Kubiak? Did they hire Kubiak?
Kubiak and Rick Dennison.
Oh, Rick Dennison.
Also,
And somebody blocked Andre Patterson.
Somebody,
Yep.
The Giants blocked Andre,
Giants
which
blocked
actually
Andre Patterson.
Thank you, Giants.
makes sense because it was like they were interviewing him for like a lateral move, and the Giants were like, "Wow, okay,
Wow. Sorry.
You can't do
You're
that. Yeah.
you're a division rival, first of all,
Right.
Yeah.
I believe
It's almost disrespectful to ask,
right. Yeah, exactly.
which is good because they're division rivals. You should disrespect them.
yeah.
Who did?
Also,
Was
not-
it Stefanski who Zimmer blocked from going
Stefanski,
lateral?
yeah.
Because he was like, dude, I stuck it
Not
out when
lateral.
we had the.
That's the thing. Zimmer blocked a promotion back when you could do that,
Oh,
right?
wow.
Because
Yeah, when it
the
wasn't
Giants
seen as it was
and they
QB coach
were-
to OC. Yeah.
Yeah, and they
Right.
were and they wanted him to be OC, and he blocked that, and then he gave a rant about loyalty.
Right.
And
he was
now
like-
he is
Yeah.
asking Andre Patterson to abandon the Giants.
Hilariously, also the Giants. It was the Giants who asked.
Still the Giants both times. I would suggest that Zimmer sees no contradiction in this because he still sees the greater loyalty Andre Patterson has to him as opposed to the employer who pays him. So I imagine that there's no contradiction in loyalty terms here, but it is very funny.
it's good to have Zimmer back in the league, but this brings to an end, I think, the window where Zimmer could have gone scorched earth on the Vikings, and he never did it. Like, credit Zimmer's agent or just his own discipline. He never did an interview. He never went in on all the
book's
bad
not
stuff.
written yet.
Say again.
Yeah.
Book's not written yet. You gotta wait. You gotta wait for your editor to go over your book before you can publish. I think we got a couple of years of him in Dallas, and then book comes out, and we all read it, and we talk about it on this show.
Then we'll
That'd
finally
be a
see the
great slow
PowerPoint.
play on Zimmer's part, because I thought it was, and I even heard that there were whispers in this market of him talking to people here, and he never actually went on the record. He never did it. And I feel like now we're going to have to wait for the book, because now he's like in the NFL. Now it's less kosher for you to like just take pot shots at people. So good
It
for
would be
Zimmer for getting a
But it
job.
also
but-
would not be uncharacteristic for him to just go off while still employed by the
Yeah,
Cowboys.
he'll
it's
just lose it in
entirely-
a presser in like week 8
Yeah.
and be like, it's like what Rick Spielman did to me.
Yeah, right. Like I would be disappointed on Mark Murphy's behalf, because he wasn't able to go down to the ranch and get the interview himself. He had to wait
Brian
until a random
Murphy.
week 9
Brian,
person.
is that
Sorry,
was that a
Brian
Mark
Murphy.
Craig, Brian Murphy
Mark
hybrid?
Craig, Brian.
Murphy?
They're both the columnists
It's a
that go down to the
hybrid.
ranch. I just
Right.
combined them. It is just those two, right? Like I'm not.
I believe so. Yeah.
No, Courtney went. Courtney got the
Courtney.
invite.
Yeah.
Joe Schmidt got the invite. It actually got to the point where getting the invite wasn't cool anymore. No offense to
that
the
cool.
people that went later, because
Well, okay,
it
I never
happened.
got an invite. I'm
It
just
happened
gonna
to so
point that
many
out.
people.
So it turned
Yeah.
out he was just bored and lonely down on the ranch. He's just started to invite everybody he could.
I
over there.
think Zim
Steady some
was very
cases.
proud of his property and wanted to show off what he
Yeah.
built. I
Yeah.
honestly think that was it. He liked to, have the beat writers try to, what's it called? The clay pigeons. You wanted him to shoot the clay pigeons and embarrass
Yeah. Your Central Tucky Ranch.
Yeah. We got a lot to get to. Justin Jefferson via Tom Pelissero wants to know the Vikings plan at quarterback before he signs long term. This, to me, this is a great telegraph, I think, that the Vikings aren't assuring anybody in the building that, oh, hey, Kirk is coming back. We're going to get this worked out. That's not happening. That's kind of a nice little piece of evidence, I think, subtly, that the Kirk thing is I think he's gone. I think he's gone. And I feel like this lends a little credence to that Justin Jefferson does not know the future plan. Do the Vikings know the future plan? Can you blame Justin Jefferson for wanting to know the plan? Luke Inman, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, hey, first of all, makes sense that he wants to know, right? He's potentially about to sign a deal that's going to keep him here for the next 5-6 years or so. He wants to know who's going to be throwing him the ball. I would too. Anybody would. Or at minimum, hey, can you let me in on the game plan? What it's going to look like the next few years? I think he's a big enough piece to the puzzle. I think he's got the right to ask that question. I mean, you don't know unless you ask, right? No, I think about it like this. He wants to know the quarterback situation, what it's going to look like. It'd be weird if he didn't want to know, right? But at the end of the day, the number one priority here is not the quarterback. The number one priority is becoming the highest non-paid quarterback in the league, or getting paid what he thinks he's worth. And he's already come out and said that. And again, nothing wrong with that in my book. The dude's the best receiver in the league. He just turned 25 years old. He should want what he's worth and what he deserves. That's normal. You got to cash in this league when you can. I get that. At the end of the day, there's nothing more important than getting that check and feeling secure on the financial end of things. I mean, we already saw the numbers he put up with Nick Mullins. So we already know what the worst case scenario is going to look like production-wise. It's still pretty good. And yeah, he wants to win. Of course he does. But first and foremost, I think he just wants to be paid like the Nick Bosas of the league. He wants to be the highest paid receiver in the league. And so I think making the right business decisions for him is more important than this quarterback situation. And if that means, no deal gets done here this offseason and he wants to skip what he skipped last year, OTAs, that he skips OTAs again, he maybe skips mandatory minicamp, he skips even training camp, I'm not really going to blame him for that. If it gets to that point, there's too much on the line. It gets too risky for a fluky injury, flushing potentially millions of dollars down the drain. So yeah, who's throwing him the ball? What's the short and long-term game plan of the entire organization? I think he's got every right to sit down with Kwesi and KOC and ask those questions before he does sign a long-term deal. But if that Brinks truck backs up and pays him what he's worth, then I think all that other stuff, is just him wanting to win and wanting to be included in the conversations because he is competitive. We know that. And he wants to win a Super Bowl someday like everybody else in this league. And that's what, a part of the equation of what makes Justin Jefferson so great. So I think until a deal gets done, I think protecting himself, making the right business decisions is what you're going to see him do on and off the field because it is a business at the end of the day and he's got to protect his investment.
Yeah, I tend to think that you're right. The contract holds more weight than the QB decision because you don't sign, okay, you've got 19 guaranteed. You do sign, you've got like 70 million guaranteed or whatever the number ends up being, and that's going to carry a lot of weight. And I think a good manager would tell him to sign the deal, Justin. But, Arif, could this become a sticky wicket for Kwesi where you've got your best, most valuable player lobbying? Maybe he is. I don't know if he is for sure, but we've heard a lot of people lobbying for Kirk. Please sign Kirk back. Brian O'Neill said it. CJ Ham came on the Ron Johnson show and basically said it as well. You got a lot of people on that offense that like Kirk Cousins. You can't let that influence your decision making. Like, I don't think that even someone as valuable as Justin Jefferson should sway you off of your plan. What do you think?
I mean, I agree with you. I also think it kind of doesn't matter. Obviously, Luke kind of spelled out like, hey, this contract is going to carry more weight. But I also think that, if you have a plan at quarterback that you think is going to maximize wins, and it's not necessarily to re-sign Kirk Cousins, you can't move off from that, I think, because it's the most important decision that you can make as an organization, right? Like the Packers not retaining Jake Kumaro or whatever for Aaron Rodgers, like that's different, right? You can hold on to a special teamer for your quarterback, but for your receiver, you can't really change a quarterback decision because your job is to put that receiver in the best position to win. And if you disagree with that receiver about what that looks like, that's just what you're doing because the quarterbacks could matter more, right? I mean, we saw that like Patrick Mahomes probably would have liked to have kept Tyreek Hill, right? And doesn't matter. You have Patrick Mahomes, right? So like if you've got a quarterback plan, the quarterback's going to matter more than the receiver, right? So I think that primarily matters. As to your point about like the signal versus, I don't think that this means anything in regards to that. I think the Vikings have been very clear about what their plan is, which is that they do want to re-sign Kirk Cousins. I think it is more than just public posturing. I think they genuinely do want to re-sign Kirk Cousins. I think they've transmitted that idea to Justin Jefferson. And I think that Jefferson is just saying, well, until he re-signs, you don't have a plan yet, which is fine. I don't think that there's any signal happening here with this leak. I don't think that the Vikings are keeping their cards close to the vest or anything like that, right? Like I think, I don't think it's an instance where they're like, well, if Justin Jefferson doesn't know. No, he knows, but they need to sign him for him to be confident in that knowledge. So
you think that he's been told, you think that he's been told Kirk, they want to bring Kirk back. You think that's the messaging that he's received?
We've been told they want to bring Kirk back.
We've been told that several times in public, in pressers. Is he going to contradict that messaging to Jefferson? Like, hey, we said like 8 times we want to re-sign Kirk Cousins, and we've been very desperate about that fact.
Yeah, just ignore all that.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
Actually, we don't.
I'm more skeptical about
even if that's
messaging.
the case.
But still trust me what I'm
saying.
saying.
No, Sam, I understand your point about like public messaging not being necessarily 100% clear, but I think that it tends to be in like one direction, right? Like it tends to be unclear when it's not losing negotiating leverage, right? Like I think that in the instance where a team says we really want to re-sign this player, they are very honestly just being earnest about that. Like I don't think that teams, especially when the team is as consistent as the Vikings about that, I don't think teams are doing that because they don't really gain a huge advantage by saying that. Like, I guess they ameliorate somebody like Justin Jefferson by lying about that. But I think that the way that the Vikings have approached this, they've made it very clear they want to re-sign Kirk Cousins. Extremely clear. And I think they told Justin Jefferson that. And I think that they wouldn't transmit a different message to Jefferson because I think that they wouldn't trust that not to be a leaky ship, right? Like if they said privately, like, hey, actually.
Yeah, JJ would definitely blow that secret. 100%. He would ruin that.
Right. So like I think that they've been very consistent with their public messaging to Justin Jefferson.
Okay. I think
speaking of consistency in public messaging, Justin Jefferson lied a lot at the Super Bowl if Tom Pelissero's reporting is not also some kind of smokescreen, because he went on like 3 different interviews and said that QB doesn't matter to him. Like literally used the words doesn't matter. So, guess we're doing that.
Tom Pelissero probably got it from Jefferson's agent, right? Like the agent was probably like, hey, we've got some concerns that maybe you could grease the wheels with some additional guarantees, but we've got some concerns, right? Because the more concerns that you present in a negotiation, the more the Vikings would have to give up in theory to make the deal happen. So the agent might be like, hey, if you don't have this quarterback thing resolved, like, I don't know, it's going to be tough. Maybe you got to throw another $3 million guaranteed in order for might be,
is that the deal? Is it like, cause like, the thing about it is he will know before they even start talking about a contract what the deal is at quarterback, because it'll be after the draft, right? Like, are we only worried about the world where they're like, okay, Gardner Minshew in a dream, which is like not a long-term situation, you know?
Yeah. Let me
Fun.
play a
Like,
game
what's
with
the
you guys.
scenario that we're worried about, I guess, that makes Justin Jefferson say no? Is it that he will say no if it's anyone but Kirk? Is that the implication? Because he's passed up Kirk so much over the last couple months?
Very unusual. Like if the Vikings do draft like a rookie quarterback or whatever, I would find it fascinating if Justin Jefferson was like, "Well, this guy's garbage." Like,
bring back Nick Mullins and Josh Dobbs.
I have seen so many
McCarthy. It's like, I watched that, Natty. I'm out.
All right. But no, like I've seen so many situations where like teammates will want like clarity at the quarterback situation. Then a rookie quarterback comes in and they're like, "Oh, I love this dude. This rookie's different. He is so good at quarterback. Oh my God, we've never seen a quarterback like it." And it's like, yeah, it's Bryce Young, man. We've never seen like a 185-pound quarterback, but that's not a good thing. It's weird that you're talking about it like that, right? like they'll talk up the guy that they get.
Let me play a game with you guys. It's pretty unprecedented for someone in Justin Jefferson's position to be available via trade. Not saying he is, but if it were on the table, it would be, I think, groundbreaking for someone of his caliber who doesn't appear to have any, there's not like off the field problems. There wasn't a steep dip in production. Most of the time when a wide receiver is traded in their prime or even before their prime, something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Something wrong with Justin Jefferson. So let me give you the terms of a trade. I'm just going to progressively get more and more. Raise your hand when it's enough for you to pull the trigger. First and a third.
Sam, Tyreek was traded for a first, a second, and 2/4.
I'm progressing from a low point, Arif. Settle down.
He's negotiating.
First,
yeah, but like,
and
fourth,
he's willing to go up.
Hey, I got lunch soon. Let's pick up the pace. Let's just jump right there.
We got to do another sponsor segment so I can eat. No,
first,
second, third, no.
Okay. You don't have to say anything. You just need to say when it's enough for you. First, 2 seconds, and a fourth.
I'll consider it, but I'll probably say
two
no,
firsts.
but I'll consider that one. Two firsts. Maybe.
Keep going.
Still not there.
It depends on the team. If the team is,
it's true. This is true. I'm glad Arif brought this up. This is true. This is true because that's a huge difference.
2 30th overall picks, I'm saying no. But if it's like, if it's like the Panthers,
absolutely right. Who doesn't have a lot of ammo right now? But even like a team in the back half, right? Like the Broncos or somebody who I feel good about that could be potentially a top 10 pick.
And just as background too, if you look at the history of big receiver trades, most of them don't get multiple firsts. I mean, Amari, and most of them aren't Justin Jefferson either. But
in a sense,
Amari
Brandon Cook got
Cooper,
multiple firsts, but over
Percy
multiple
Harvin,
trades.
Randy
and like
Moss.
you said, with all these, Sam, Diggs, Percy, OBJ went for Jabril Peppers, a first and a third, Amari Cooper. But most of these, like you said, Sam, and pointed out, great point. Most of all of these, there was some sort of issue. Either they were on the tail end, they were 28, 29, 30, 31-ish, or there was an issue. Keyshawn Johnson went for 2 firsts, and he was going into his 5th year. There were some issues there. I think it was John Gruden, the Bucks, or whatever the situation was. Terrell Owens, Antonio Brown, Brandon Cooks was traded twice for a first rounder. The only one I found interesting, you probably looked at the same list, Sam, but the Santana Moss for Lavernius Coles, just a swap of 2 at the time, upper echelon receivers, not elite. I thought that was pretty funny. I kind of forgot about that one, but you're right. This is rare scenario here. If he were to get traded, that's why for me, 3 firsts, that's like where the conversation starts, which is unrealistic. And that's why it probably wouldn't happen. Yeah.
Starts. Yep. If the Commanders were like 2 firsts, I'd be like, yeah. 100%.
If the Commanders, sure. Okay. 2 firsts and some change. Absolutely. Okay. We'll talk. My door's
Is
open.
one of those 2 overall? Because my deal has always been, does this get me a quarterback? And if it doesn't, we got worse.
Another good point.
That's kind of why I want an early pick. Like I probably not 2 overall, but like if they're trading 2024 and 2025, I'm thinking about it.
Now, this is
if they get like Drake May and then he gets to throw to Justin Jefferson, we sure that team's playing high, picking high.
that's another
that's
point.
Part of it.
It is the commies.
Factor that in.
You
got to factor that in. The other thing too is you got Marvin Harrison Jr. staring at you right in the face. So if I can trade 2 for JJ, and obviously he's established.
Okay,
if there's some temptation there.
If we're talking this year's draft and they're offering like 2, I'd be like, hey, Justin, we've had great times, haven't we?
Right. We're gonna hit the reset button and go get Marvin Harrison Jr. or whatever.
Dan
Not
Snyder's
Marvin.
out of the
No,
picture.
you got options.
You'll be fine.
I'm getting Drake May. Were you kidding me? Like, I love you, Marvin. I'm getting Drake May.
Then you trade up from 11 with the extra change that you got. Throwing a third and a fourth.
Straight
up.
There, no, right? Man, I'm just like, I have 2 at Drake May, 11. I'm picking like Roma Dunze or whoever, right? Like it's a good receiver draft.
It's a loaded class
for
anybody.
You
take two guys in the 3rd, 4th round, 5th round, somewhere.
Yeah,
there.
I'm taking a receiver. Like if I'm trading Jefferson and I get 2 for it, I get Drake May, and then I'm also grabbing a receiver at 11, and then I'm also grabbing a receiver in
Ricky
one
Pearsall
of the
from Florida,
and then I'm grabbing a receiver with a 6th round pick. I'm grabbing 3 because it's like I am not going to screw this up. Right, I am not going to Troy Williamson my way out of this.
I'm in.
Right,
yeah.
Every game, it's going to be like the Pac-12. So maybe Penix or Knicks would be more at home.
There you go.
Because every game is going to be about 55 to 45.
Ron Johnson from Mexico. When we return on the Minnesota Football Party.
On Mexico.
This next segment is brought to you by our sponsor, BetterHelp. We like to rant about sports on this show. Sports mean a lot to us. We need to get it off our chest. We're talking about Justin Jefferson getting traded. That works us up. But, life has more than just arguing about your favorite sports teams or sports debates or sports issues. When you have real issues to discuss, big or small, you want to get those off your chest with somebody who can listen. And with BetterHelp, you have that opportunity. So if you're looking into trying therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's totally online. It's designed to be flexible, suited to your schedule, and it can be really helpful to discuss all the issues in your life. Visit BetterHelp.com/lockedon to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/lockedon to get 10% off your first month. BetterHelp. It is flexible. It is easy. It is helpful. It's BetterHelp. HELP.com/lockedon. All right. Ron Johnson about to join us from Mexico. He hosts the Ron Johnson Show on Tuesdays. He had CJ Ham on the most recent episode. Now, I see his little box down there. I don't see Ron. I don't see anything in the box. It's, okay, spinning. We got some Wi-Fi craziness going on. We'll see if he pops up. That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. And we'll get back to Ron if he does show up. So carrying on quickly with the Justin Jefferson thing. So Luke said he starts at 3 firsts. I think I probably I start at 2 firsts. I think that's what I would temper it down to, and I would build from there. So 2 firsts, and then can I get a couple seconds? Can I get a starter? Can I get 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a starter? Like the Seahawks got with Shelby Harris, like someone like that. Then maybe if I could finagle 3 firsts, that's probably the max, right? Because of the rules, you can't go more than 3 years out. So odds are 3 firsts is about as well as you could do. Plus other picks.
The Bears have multiple firsts, right? Like, I know you don't want to do an in-division trade, but you could get 4, right, from the Bears.
Hey, let's go. Yeah. Hey, I want to recreate that Jets, what was it, 2001 draft class where they had 4 first-round picks. They took, like, Chad Pennington, a tight end. You guys remember this?
Apparently the guys they picked were not that memorable because
they weren't
trailing off immediately.
I trailed off quick, man. That happened quick, dude. No, like LT,
some
LaDainian
tight end.
Yeah, like no Wayne Krebet, maybe. No, hold on. Now I got to find it. But
yeah, they picked
while you look it up, we got
dude. It was hilarious because that's when they still held the draft at Radio City Music Hall, so it was in New York. So you got the diehard Jets fans in there, and just after every pick, it was just like
we got Ron.
We got Ron from Mexico. Ron, do you know what I had to do this morning? I had to get the snowplow out of the garage. Didn't work. Had to manually shovel my driveway this morning. How was your morning?
Well, woke up, birds chirping, sat out on our deck. We just hung out. The kids actually are like 2 bungalows over with the grandparents, so we had no kids this morning. So yeah, so it's a good morning. Ran on the beach, did a 3-mile run, ran some stairs, and then now I'm about to go down to the beach and just hang out, play a little volleyball.
What's
About
the
the same
temp?
as Sam then. Got it.
Yeah, about the same.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so really,
What's
our
the
mornings
temperature?
were equal.
It's a chilly. Let's see. My watch says it's like a chilly 87 right now.
Beautiful. Fantastic.
Oh man. I hate you. Justin Jefferson in a trade, Ron. What would be your starting point in negotiations if there was a trade that was going to happen? What would you need to get back if you were Kwesi?
I would need a Super Bowl back. If you want Justin Jefferson, I need whoever's going to take him. When you win the Super Bowl, if you're going and you're playing us, you have to lose to us.
The fine print. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some way, somehow, you have to lose to us. We know it's scripted anyway, so might as well put that in there.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
You
right
have
in.
Could
to
you
lose to
imagine the
us
anxiety
to make
of a
sure
Super
to
Bowl
get us to the
appearance
Super
against
Bowl?
the team you traded Justin Jefferson to? Everyone
and
would
then
be
they have to lose.
100% sure that we would lose and Jefferson would be Super Bowl
What,
MVP.
but what
MVP,
an incredible set of narratives to work through. That is just such a good
Yeah.
story. I'm
And
just
to
thinking
the
about this as a
to the
writer.
Bills too, like both
Yeah.
To the
haven't
I hope the
won
CIA
yet.
is listening.
So it's like
Like Justin, right before you score, you have to fumble on the 1 yard line because
Yeah.
that's
There
what
it
happens.
is.
but they
that
changed the
would be
rule.
Leon Lett.
But the rule will be
Like,
changed.
tra-
But
by
now
then.
they've
trading-
changed the rule. We don't get possession.
So we don't even
Trading
get that.
Jefferson away might be hurtful, but making him lose a Super Bowl as part of the condition is supremely painful to him personally. That would be incredible. I would
I'd say a
imagine that in
starting
that
point, I
scenario,
would say
you would
is-
tell everybody but him, and so he doesn't have to find out until the end.
Right. Just say, hey, this was in the contract. We should let you know. No, I mean, a starting point, honestly, it's going to be somewhere like, at least 3 first rounders. You have to think about like the haul the Lions got for Matthew Stafford. Like it's got to be, the Lions. The Lions got for Matthew Stafford. So it's got to be something like that. It's got to be like 3 first rounders, some additional maybe second round picks. It's got to be high. Like it can't feel like you got taken to the woodshed. Like you got to do what the Lions did and really just say, look, if you want the best receiver in the league, you gotta mortgage your team. And I mean, it worked out for the Rams though. The Rams still won the Super Bowl, and it's working out for the Lions. So I think you got to find something like that if you do trade them.
Upgrade at quarterback. That's what worked out for the Rams.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ron, okay, you're Kwesi, right? Let's say you've decided to let Kirk Cousins walk. You've also decided, okay, maybe you're falling in love with one of these top quarterbacks that's being, rumored and mocked to go higher than pick 11 where you're at. Do you make it a priority to make a trade up in the order now before free agency starts? That way teams don't have, that leverage against you because they know, all right, free agency already came and went and you didn't sign Kirk Cousins. Or do you not panic? Do you just kind of let the draft fall the way it may? If you got to move up on draft day, so be it. Because free agency is starting quick. And I've heard this discussion before, and that means a move would have to get done here over the next 3-4 weeks.
No, I mean, I think if you want JJ McCarthy, he's going to be there when you want him. I wouldn't even show my hand and try to make teams think I need to move up to get a quarterback. I'm going to stay put because I think what they're at 11. I don't see McCarthy being a top 10 pick unless like something crazy happens in the next couple of weeks. But no, I would stay put if I'm letting Kirk Cousins go though, because you said walk. Kirk Cousins can do more than walk. I don't know if you saw the NFL honors. He is Magic Mike. Like with one,
He can move.
one
He can scoot.
Achilles.
He could scoot.
Yeah, they can let Kirk Cousins moonwalk out of here. But if they do go that route, then they're probably going to lose Justin Jefferson as well, because I think that's what it sounds like from Tom Pelissero, that JJ's camp wants to know what they're going to do with quarterback. So they're going to have to share with him, and whether he spills the beans on social media or not with like some cryptic emojis like Stephon Diggs used to do, like all of a sudden you see like crutches, broken heart, something else, then you know something's not right if he tweets that. So
Ron.
What do you think about all this stuff going on in San Francisco? Steve Wilkes out. There seems to be like all kinds of weird dramas coming out of their Super Bowl loss. They got pretty darn close. It feels like there's a lot more problems than it seemed like on the field.
yeah, a wise, not wise, I wouldn't say this guy's wise, but a guy once said, lay off the weed. I think Kyle Shanahan, I mean, it's legal. It's legal in California. I think Kyle Shanahan has been smoking too much weed. Like the fact that you put up 29 points as an offense in the season, Your defense has given up 17 points. They were the number 2 defense in the league. You held Mahomes to 19 points in regulation. You basically should have won the Super Bowl if you knew the rules. And your response is, I'm going to fire my defensive coordinator. That's just weird to me. That's one. Two, all of a sudden, one of their offensive linemen is an absolute savage. Like, he's tweeting out about one guy on the team missing a block, and that's why Brock Purdy had to let the ball go. That same guy told Jalen Carter said he's going to kill this guy, and he responded to Jalen Carter, I believe you because you already have a body on your resume. Like, I don't know what's going on out there,
That was
but
pretty
I think
wild. I remember that.
it's number 55. Yeah, 55 for the 49ers. I don't know what's the truth going on out there. At the end of the day, like I saw somebody else tweet like what they have. Like they have like the number 3 tight end, highest paid tight end. They have the highest paid running back. They have like one of the top paid receivers. They have one of the top 3 paid offensive left tackles. They have Brandon Ayuk, who's going to be a potential top 10 paid receiver when his rookie contract is due. And you are mad about your defense. Like one of your starting linebackers went out with an Achilles tear in the middle of the game. You guys still should have won that game. You've lost the game 28-3 to the Patriots. You've also lost double-digit leads. Sam Ekstrom pointed that out on my show, that you lost 3 double-digit leads, and you're still mad about the defensive court. Like, come on. Like, at some point, like this is what somebody once told me. If you're ugly and you look in the mirror and you can't admit that, you're not looking in the mirror. And so that's where Kyle Shanahan is at. Like he has an ugly resume right now, and he's not looking in the mirror on how to get better. He's just, that's why there's all these makeup tutorials on TikTok. Like you see absolute, like, I mean, I'm not going to say what they look like, but they ended up looking like J-Lo by the time they're done with their tutorial of makeup. Like Shanahan needs to get on TikTok and learn how to put some makeup on that offense because it's him. Like it's pieces of him, and it's not the offense. It's the way he calls games. Like he calls games great in the regular season, and then he gets to the Super Bowl or the playoffs, and it feels like he chokes a little bit. Like I don't know how to word it any better than that. Like I don't like Brock Purdy being under pressure. Maybe run the ball. The Falcons being up 28-3. Maybe run the ball. Like that's the thing that annoys me the most is like Shanahan's not taking any blame for this. Nothing for the overtime rules. Nothing for the fact that you have the best running back in the world paid wise, and you're not running double screens to him and Kittle and using Deebo Samuels like a Swiss Army knife. I know he kind of tweaked his hamstring a little bit, but that's on Shanahan. Like you can't fire the defensive coordinator for your ineptitude. I guess I'll use the word on how to close out a game.
Speaking of that Jalen Carter or John Feliciano incident, what is, and I guess you have to be safe for the show. So try to find the line here. What is the most out of pocket thing you've either said or heard someone say to you as part of trash talk during a game? And to remind you, we will be monitored. So
the whole answer is gonna be one long beep.
I've never honestly, me personally, I was not a trash talker. I just like to look at guys or do stuff. Like Glenn Mason didn't let us do it. Brian Billick was big on it. I will say some of the craziest stuff I heard is like, I think my first or second year in the league with Ray Lewis, and just hearing some of the stuff he would say, like, I mean, because these guys would like Google and research stuff.
Right. I heard Ray Lewis would research. Yeah. Their opponents.
I remember we were playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but Joey Porter Sr. had shot himself or got shot. I can't remember. No, he got shot. He got shot in like the butt at a club in a fight. And and like Ray Lewis, he didn't play against us, so he's all like on the sideline. And he's like chirping. Ray, like, I don't know how they in the crossing paths, but Ray basically like did the like, I'm praying for you, Joey. Like, I hope your butt heals. Like, and like I can't say how he said it. I don't even know if Ray knew how he said it. And so the way he said it, the Steelers waited for us at our bus. Like at our bus, you had Joey Porter you had I think Hines Ward. I can't remember who else was over there. Like Chris McAllister, Ray Lewis. Our owner ends up having to get off the bus and tell the guys to get on the bus because they were like, what's his name, Corey Fuller. Like all you see is Corey Fuller drop his duffel bag. It was a Louis Vuitton, though. It wasn't like a Nike. He dropped like his Louis bag. So he like, if you're willing to drop a Louis,
Yeah,
all
he's
right,
ready
you
to.
serious.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
And so he dropped his Louis bag like he was about to like, I don't know what was about to happen, but our owners kind of stopped it. But yeah, I don't know what else Ray said because we couldn't hear it all. But basically, he was like, he basically kept bringing up that this dude got shot in the butt and he couldn't play against. It was like, wow. Like,
That's incredible.
That's amazing.
Like you got shot. Like that's like going to 50 Cent and being like, man, I'm glad you don't walk with a limp, but you're not gonna win this game. I know you got shot 9
Fitty.
times. Like, whoa. But yeah, no. So like that's probably the weirdest one. Other than that, it was the normal stuff, you know, mom,
Other than that.
sisters.
Besides all that, though,
Yeah, that was kind of one of those diabolical. I know you got shot, so I'm about to make fun of it. But also, I'm praying for your butt to heal. You know, like it was just.
It just reminds
was
me of Band of
interesting.
Brothers, right? Because that one guy got shot in the butt, and they keep on saying stuff like 1 bullet, 4 holes, like just incredible.
Wow. I will say the Falcons, like we played the Falcons and they made jokes about Ray because, you know, he had his deal.
Right.
And
in
so
Atlanta.
they had a couple jokes in it. Right. That's what I'm saying. So not only did the fans went like above and beyond with some of their costumes and outfits, but the players, every once in a while, you heard a couple guys like make a couple jokes. And I when I say jokes, like trying to get under people's skin. So it was,
Right. Yeah.
that's probably, I'm not gonna say what they said because I don't even know if it's still an open case. I don't want to be involved in that, but yeah.
Ron, we're calling you to the stand for evidence that you submitted on the Minnesota football party.
I plead the fifth.
You'll stay in Mexico. You're not going to get subpoenaed.
We have to extradite Ron Johnson.
Ron, lead us into. We're going to discuss this next. Lead us into it here. I'm going to give you a couple bridge quarterback options if Kirk Cousins magic mics his way out of Minnesota. Jacoby Brissett, Jameis Winston, Gardner Minshew, Ryan Tannehill. Does anybody get your antenna up if we needed a 1-year guy who could keep the seat warm while a rookie learns on the job?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna throw Jameis Winston away. I'm gonna throw. I mean, nothing against those guys. They're pros. Like they're pros. I respect their game. I'm thinking about Kevin O'Connell's offense. I'd say Jameis Winston is too much of a wild card. Like we already know, dude's willing to hand the ball off when your coach told you to kneel on it. Like if the team voted this. Like what team? Like we didn't vote on this. We're not in Paris. This is not French. Like what are you doing? Like I mean, because when he said we, like some of the players you can see there was like when the reporters were asking them in the locker room, they were like, that's on Jameis, man. I don't know about we. Like
I looked at him confused. I didn't know.
Right.
Nobody knew what he was talking
So
about.
I gotta throw him out of there. I'm gonna say, like, I do like when if you think about Tannehill when he had Arthur Smith and the move, shift, motion ability that Arthur Smith. I mean, that's why Arthur Smith got the job he got. Still don't know if he deserves it, but he got it. When you look at what Arthur Smith did in Tennessee with that run game / play action / get the ball to what's his name, AJ Brown, who ends up now traded and going to the Eagles, dumbest trade ever. That's what I would say. I do like Tannehill. Gardner Minshew, I like him. I mean, he did help the Colts out this year. I just don't know. I don't know. Like I do like I said, I like Tannehill because of his size, and maybe I'm enamored with guys over 6'3" or 6'3" and above. But when I think about Kevin O'Connell and like what he wants out of a quarterback, because he said it numerous times on podcasts, I think Tannehill kind of fits the bill. And he can run, though. I think we forget about that. Like Tannehill has some impressive runs. They weren't like a spectacular Josh Allen, but they were runs that he can get out of stuff. Now I don't know, he's older now. I don't know if he still has that, but throwing the ball to JJ, throwing the ball to these tight ends, he's been used to that in Tennessee, so I could see Tannehill. And Jacoby Brissett, I do like Jacoby Brissett mobility wise.
Yeah.
I could see him too. Like I would go Tannehill, Brissett, Minshew, and then Tanner Morgan, and then Jameis Winston.
Brilliant. The wonders of technology. Ron Johnson calling in from Mexico. Crisp video, crisp audio, and we'll hear from him on the roundtable on Friday as well.
This golf hole behind me too, by the way, I'm about to get a video for the show Tuesday, Sam.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's 375 feet over water. You got to tee off from an elevated tee box. And that's why, like, my father-in-law got me and my wife this room, because, like, I like this view. Which, you know, thanks to my father-in-law, that was awesome for him to do. We didn't even know we were getting our own room. Like, we thought we were going to be with everybody else. But literally, they have all the kids, both my wife's sisters, and them. And then it's just us in this. So yeah, so we're spoiled, and then
Nice.
Saturday we're moving further away from them. Like a mile. I ran today because I ran the beach to see where it's at. It's literally a mile. I ran when I got to that mile. I was right at the new place. We're down the beach with all the 30-something-year-olds. We're gonna move down there, and then the kids, and then her parents' friends are gonna stay with them in there. They get a new place over in a different part of the town. But yeah, no, this hole here is $260 to clear the water. It's so either go big or go home. You can lay up, or you can pull your pants up and take the shot. So I love this hole behind me. It's perfect view.
Yeah, Bryson
awesome.
DeChambeau it. Can't wait to see how you do. Yeah, we'll talk to you on the Friday roundtable, and then we'll get some footage for the Ron Johnson show next week. Good stuff. Enjoy the day, Ron. Looks beautiful.
And Tuesday, check in, people. We had CJ Ham on this week. We're going to have CJ next week as well. CJ Ham is opening up a vein. He talked about Kirk Cousins. He talked about JJ. And he also talks about being a father. So I think that was the key thing, him being a father. And the Pro Bowl. You guys didn't even ask me about that, but we'll talk about that maybe Friday, Sam. Because the Pro Bowl, the money that the winners got, they took it serious, according to CJ.
It's nice.
So just saying.
Yeah.
$88,000. $88,000 went to the winners of a dodgeball game. So
Wow.
I don't know about you. 88 grand, I'm hitting you in the face.
Yeah,
I'm
I'd
hitting your mom
play
in
the heck
face
out of that dodgeball
with a
game.
dodgeball.
Yeah.
I might.
Which is good.
I'd throw a wrench. I'd hit you with a wrench. I'm not gonna lie.
That's
You
awesome.
can dodge
Yeah.
a wrench. You'll be okay.
dodge
Dodge a ball.
Dodge a ball.
Dive, dip, dodge, and dodge.
Yep.
Roundtable tomorrow. Thanks a lot, Ron.
All right.
Ron Johnson from abroad. Let's get a word in, and then we'll be back to talk more about bridge quarterbacks and DJ Wanham on the Minnesota Football Party. Brought to you by Game Time. Game Time provides you with the best tickets to sports, music, comedy, and theater in your city. You shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Flash deals, zone deals, last-second deals. You can get tickets even an hour after the event starts. With zone deals, you pick the section. Game Time picks the seats for big-time savings. You got to love it. And if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thanks to the everydayers for watching us. We're on Mondays and Thursdays, Minnesota Football Party, also on the Locked On Vikings podcast feed, Minnesota Basketball Party Wednesdays, Ron Johnson Tuesdays, Roundtable on Fridays. Let's carry on the bridge quarterback conversation just for a moment. I'm with Ron. If I had to choose between the four options I gave, I expelled Baker Mayfield from the list. I just think that he's too costly at this point. Don't know if he's really a bridge anymore.
I don't even think he's going to hit the market, right?
I don't think he's going to hit the market.
He may not.
Probably
Probably
wants to stay in Tampa Bay, even though the play caller's gone.
I like Tannehill, though. Of those four, he's like the least threatening option.
You picked the one option that gets the Vikings older at quarterback. That's incredible.
Yeah, if you can do that, I think you gotta
You got it. You got it.
Yeah, old historically mid quarterbacks, but you don't
usually
have to
find
pay.
a way to resurrect themselves with the Vikings. This is the Jeff George.
Hey,
This is the
McNabb
Jeff
is not
George.
historically mid. McNabb was historically quite good. He just was clearly mid well before he arrived at the Vikings.
Below mid with the What's worse than mid?
Man, he fell off quick.
Yeah.
Nothing is worse than mid.
Mud.
That's what that
He
word
was
has
mud.
evolved to mean.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, that was bad. I think I'm with you, Sam and Ron. I think Tannehill's the guy I'd feel best about plugging in for 5, 10, 12 games, whatever it may be, and giving your team a fighter's chance every week. If being competitive and winning games is your top priority, I think I like Tannehill of those options. I mean, it's not like we're sifting through a bunch of future Hall of Famers or former Pro Bowlers here. I like Tannehill though.
Man, so first of all, for the podcast listeners, Ron was wearing a shirt and was not wearing any type of shirt that would reveal any of his chest. So for anybody who's betting at home,
right,
those are the results.
Plus money, plus money on the long.
Yeah, honestly, you cashed out. I prefer Jacoby. I like Jacoby a lot. I think that every opportunity he's had over the past 3 years to play football as a starter, he's actually looked pretty good. He's looked good. I don't know what else to say. He wouldn't cost that much because he's not given that many opportunities. But not that now that we've seen like multiple quarterbacks outplay Deshaun Watson in Cleveland, it's not really a high bar. So, I'm not saying a ton by saying he outplayed Deshaun Watson in Cleveland, but he did outplay Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. I think that counts for something at least. And I think the fact that he has played in a Shanahan style offense, I think effectively is something. It's not like a McVay style offense in the exact same way. It runs differently, but I think that, he has the ability to mentor a quarterback. I think it would maybe suck for him to have to be in that situation all the time, but still, I think it's a good option for the Vikings. And he definitely wouldn't, the age concerns with somebody like a Tannehill or a Cousins is that suddenly they'll just like drop off a cliff. I mean, that's how it often tends to be, is that these quarterbacks, like, it's not a gradual decline necessarily. I'm not that concerned with that with Brissett. I am that concerned with Tannehill. And I think that because he costs less, because he could actually be more effective than Tannehill, he's somebody that I'd be intrigued by as a bridge option. And if he loses a camp competition to, a Michael Penix or a JJ McCarthy or whoever we don't like now, so be it. He loses a camp competition. Great.
Yeah, like if you brought in both Ryan Tannehill and Jacoby Brissett, who wins the job? I feel like of late it's Brissett. No, like I feel like
Brissett. Tannehill's
I feel like we've seen better quarterback play from him than we have from Tannehill of late, so that's why I'm on him. But what I'll say is, if you have a rookie that's like clearly meant to be the long-term guy, whoever plays the 6 weeks before that dude gets ready, whatever, somebody.
Just somebody.
Yeah.
I just pulled up
who keeps the seat warm, like whatever.
I just pulled up, this is interesting, PFF's quarterback free agency rankings, and Brissett and Tannehill surprisingly have two of the best grades as far as clean pocket grade, really good grades. Tannehill's got him in first and second down grade, but Brissett's got him in standard drop back grade and sack grade as well. So it surprised me to see how well both these guys have graded out. But you're right, Brissett actually is graded out a little bit better in some categories. Pretty good.
Brissett sixth in 2022, sixth amongst quarterbacks.
Yeah.
There's a really broken part of me that would just want this to be Nick Mullins so we can get more Chaos Bozo Ball.
Well,
let's just get weird.
If we're going to go that route,
you could get Jameis.
If we're going to go that route, you got to go.
We have Jameis at home.
Give me Jameis.
And Mullins is under contract. We forget that.
Also,
fewer mutinies per game.
Hold on. Instead of, Gardner Minshew also plays a bit of Chaos Ball, right? You could bring in, you can get,
that'd be fine.
Nick Mullins and Gardner can compete, but instead of picking the better quarterback, you'd pick the more chaotic one.
I love Jameis.
Jameis is the most chaotic. Yeah.
I mean, if you bring in Jameis, no competition. But if you bring in Gardner Minshew, you end up with a genuine chaos competition, I think.
Jameis is the guy I'm starting a petition for. When he hangs it up, he needs his own reality TV show. Like his sound bites and just
like trash reality. Yes,
he is that guy,
like
man.
A Love Island type of
yeah.
Just a
budget of $6,
just a camera in a room. Yep. I love him,
and that's what's good about it. Yeah.
Jameis has a future on like the NFL Today. Like he's going to be on a panel as the guy who says crazy stuff.
His YouTube film analysis arc is going to be awesome.
Oh, actually, yeah.
The next JT O'Sullivan.
I might prefer that over like Kurt Benkert.
Yeah.
This is devastating, but we've run out of time to discuss DJ Wanham's future, so you'll have to live in suspense
so
until
might the
Monday
Vikings.
to hear about whether they bring back the injured DJ Wanham. We love you, DJ. Just we're not going to talk about you today. Justin Jefferson took up a lot of time. That was worthwhile. Ron Johnson from Mexico and QB discussion, all good stuff.
Johnson from Mexico. Sorry.
Talk to you Monday
Same
on
number of syllables.
Monday on the Minnesota Football Party. Thanks for watching and listening. See you later.